December 24th, 1988. A plane disappeared without leaving any trace during a fierce Arctic storm. 200 passengers were on board, but no signs of life. 30 years later, researchers uncovered a startling truth. What they discovered beneath. The ice challenged everything we thought we knew about nature, and the fate of the survivors of Flight TR-571. They were not alone. On the afternoon of December 24th, 1988, as millions of people around the world prepared to celebrate Christmas, 200 passengers and crew boarded Flight TR-571. The plane, a reliable model of commercial aviation, left Anchorage for Reykjavik, Iceland. For many on board, it was just another flight. For some, the trip home. But they would never reach their destination. The TR-571 took off in extreme conditions. One of the worst storms of the decade hit the Arctic, sweeping the sky with biting winds and relentless snow. At 11:30 p.m., Captain Richard Caldwell had his last communication with air traffic control. His voice, usually steady and confident, now sounded tense and urgent. Severe turbulence, 2 engines down, dangerously low altitude, immediate command. The transmission cut out. On the other end of the line, controllers tried to answer. They repeatedly called TR-571. Silence. No returns. For the next few minutes, radar showed the plane swinging violently, being tossed back and forth by furious winds. Then, at 11:17 p.m., Flight TR-571 disappeared. No signal, no trace. Just a flashing dot on the screen. And then nothing. The plane, its passengers and crew, had disappeared into the unforgiving ice of the Arctic. The disappearance of TR-571 triggered one of the largest search operations of the time. The day after the disappearance, rescue teams began a massive sweep of the plane's trajectory. The Arctic, however, did not easily give up its answers. 8 specialized planes and 4 icebreakers were sent to scan every square kilometer of the frozen sea. Helicopters searched from above, while divers faced the freezing waters in a desperate effort to find any sign of the missing plane. But TR-571 appeared to have been swallowed by ice. No floating debris, no signal on the radar, no emergency broadcasts. As the days turned into weeks, hope began to fade. The Arctic showed its cruel face. Incessant snowstorms erased any possible clues, and the extreme cold made it impossible to keep search teams on the ground for long. After a month of tireless efforts, the rescue mission was officially over. Flight TR-571 was declared lost. The media named the case the Bermuda Ice Triangle. Aviation experts were baffled. How could a whole plane vanish without leaving a single clue? Theories arose. Some believed the storm simply destroyed the plane upon impact. Others suggested that TR-571 could have sunk into the frozen ocean, buried under tons of constantly moving snow and ice. But there was something that no one could explain. If the plane really crashed, why were the emergency signals not activated? The mystery of TR-571 seemed doomed to remain buried forever in the silence of the Arctic. Until 3 decades later, something unexpected happened. January 2024. 37 years after the disappearance of TR-571, the case had already become one more archived enigma in aviation history. However, on a silent night in Anchorage, Alaska, an accidental discovery would change everything. Jonathan Whitmore, a well-known expert in Arctic climate change, was studying satellite images when something unusual caught his eye. Amid the endless ice sheets, a strange metallic reflection appeared in data from a military satellite. The object was buried deep, but its shape was unmistakable. It was not a natural formation. At first, Blackwood believed it might be the remains of an old survey ship, or even fragments of some lost military equipment. However, when Amanda, a young radar expert, ran into the lab with new thermal images, the researcher's heart sank. "You have to see this." The footprints revealed not only a large metallic object beneath the ice, but something even more disturbing. Around them, thermal patterns revealed a network of nearly perfect trails, as if something or someone had repeatedly crossed the area for years, leaving deep marks in the ice sheets. The dimensions of the object exactly matched those of TR-571. The impossible had happened. The missing plane had been found. Sorry for the interruption. Before we continue with the story, I kindly ask you to like the video and subscribe to this channel. It is very important for us. Thank you very much. The news spread quickly among scientific and government circles. In less than a week, one of the largest expeditions ever organized to the Arctic was mounted. Heavy helicopters, drilling vehicles, and dozens of experts were mobilized for a dangerous mission. Recover the remains of TR-571 before the spring thaw wiped them out forever. Time was a relentless enemy. With each passing day, temperatures rose and the ice grew more unstable. However, there was something the researchers had yet to discover, something that no satellite image could predict. The plane was not alone in that frozen desert, and what awaited them there would defy everything they knew about nature. The Arctic expedition began with a clear objective: recover the remains of TR-571 before the ice swallowed them again. However, as soon as they arrived at the place indicated by the satellite images, the scientists realized that there was something strange there. Elizabeth Harper, an animal behaviorist, was the first to notice. She had spent her career studying wildlife in some of the harshest environments on Earth, yet nothing in her experience had prepared her for this. Standing at the edge of the excavation site, she felt a creeping unease settle over her like a second layer of frost. Something was wrong. The Arctic was never truly silent. There was always the distant groan of shifting ice, the whisper of wind carving through snowdrifts, the occasional crack of frozen ground splitting under pressure. However, here, it was different. The silence was too deep, as if the land itself was holding its breath. Her voice was barely more than a whisper. Something is wrong with the fauna here. At first, the signs were faint, too faint for most to notice. Tracks scattered across the ice, barely visible beneath the layers of shifting frost. Most of the team dismissed them as belonging to wolves or polar bears, but Catherine's trained eye caught something unusual. She knelt, brushing away a thin crust of snow, revealing the print beneath. The shape was rounded, padded, clawed, distinctly line. However, that was impossible. The Arctic tundra was no place for big cats. Lynxes did not migrate this far north, and even if by some extraordinary event one had wandered beyond its known range, there was no way it could be this big. She pressed her gloved hand against the impression. It was larger than any lynx print she had ever seen. Far larger. Her stomach tightened. "This cannot be right," she murmured. A gust of wind whistled through the frozen expanse, sending a flurry of snow spiraling into the air. For a moment, she had the strangest sensation that she was being watched. Then, at dawn on the fourth day, when the storm finally broke and the sky ignited in soft pinks and greens beneath the ethereal shimmer of the northern lights, the truth revealed itself. Atop an ice ridge, 3 figures stood motionless. Catherine's breath caught in her throat. The morning light cast their silhouettes in stark contrast against the pale, endless snow. 3 giant lynxes. Their fur was a silvery white so pure, so seamlessly blended with the frozen landscape, that had it not been for the shifting light of the aurora, she might have missed them entirely. A mother and her 2 nearly full-grown cubs. They did not run. They did not snarl or lower their ears in warning. They simply stood there, golden eyes locked onto the humans below, unblinking, studying them in eerie silence. The wind howled through the camp, rattling the metal poles of the equipment. However, the lynxes remained, unmoving, watching. A ripple of unease passed through the team as more of them noticed the creatures. Some exchanged hushed whispers, others simply stared. Someone reached for a camera, but the mother lynx tilted her head slightly, as if aware of their scrutiny. "They should not be here," one of the researchers muttered under his breath, and yet they were. As the expedition progressed, the lynxes remained nearby. Each morning at the same time, they returned, perched on the same ridge, moving soundlessly along the perimeter of the site. At first, the team dismissed it as curiosity, but as the days passed, it became clear this was not curiosity. The lynxes were patrolling, their movements were deliberate, their watchful eyes never straying from the humans. More than once, Catherine, observed them stopping at specific locations in the snow, their massive paws pressing into the ice, their claws raking against the frozen ground in slow, deliberate strokes. It was as if they were marking something, as if they were trying to tell them something. Then came the first incident. That night, as the last of the team prepared to retreat to their tents, the wind picked up, cutting through the camp with unrelenting force. A deep, ominous creaking shuddered through the frozen air. The generator, the massive structure weighed down by ice and snow, lurched violently to one side. Amanda was directly in its path. She did not have time to move. Then a blur of silver in the dark. The mother lynx moved. A streak of white fur against the black sky, she lunged from the snow with impossible speed, slamming into Amanda's side, with a force that sent her sprawling. A fraction of a second later, the generator crashed onto the ice, slamming into the ground with a deafening boom, right where Amanda had stood moments before. A cloud of snow and ice erupted into the air. For several seconds, the entire camp was frozen in shock. Amanda lay on her side, breathless, her heart hammering against her ribs. Slowly, she turned her head. The lynx stood beside her. Their eyes met. The wind howled around them, but Amanda barely heard it. Her pulse pounded in her ears as she stared into those golden irises, large, intelligent, knowing. And in that moment, she understood. She saved me on purpose. The words left her lips before she even realized she had spoken them. A shiver passed through the team, not from the cold, but from the unshakable truth that now lingered in the air. This was not instinct. This was not random. The lynxes were not just here. They were not just watching. They knew something, and, more important than that, they were trying to warn them. The ice was relentless. However, despite the extreme conditions, the team kept going. They dug, melted the ice with state-of-the-art equipment, and pumped out the melted water before it froze again. At dawn, on the 8th day, the first great advance occurred. The tail of the plane emerged from the snow, its metal warped by time but still recognizable. The faded airline logo emblazoned on the fuselage confirmed what everyone already suspected. DR-571 had been found. However, something did not seem right. Emily was the first to notice. The ice surrounding the wreckage was not uniform. It looked as if it had been trampled repeatedly for decades, as if something had been circling the plane all these years. And then, the lynxes returned. They set out at dawn, moving silently through the snow. Now they were watching the excavation even more closely, and when the researchers descended into the rubble, the cats began to behave strangely. They marked specific spots on the ice with deep scratches, as if trying to warn of something. What exactly, no one knew. But then, among the frozen seats, still untouched coffee cups and personal items scattered as if time had stopped, the most disturbing discovery was made. In the pocket of one of the first-class seats, carefully protected from the cold, was a newspaper. It was the diary of stewardess Laura Bennett, and its pages revealed something that no one was willing to read. Of 200 people, only 28 survived. Captain Henderson organizes the shifts and the distribution of food. But we are not alone. We hear noises outside. They are not wolves. Something else is watching us. The temperature fell to minus 52 degrees Celsius. 4 people did not make it through the night. We huddled together trying to stay warm. But then something strange happened. At the plane's entrance, we found fresh prey, 2 Arctic hares, as if someone had placed them there for us, as if they knew we needed them. December 30th, 1988. The lynxes appear every night. Their eyes shine in the darkness. But we are no longer afraid. No, they are not hunting us. They are protecting us. January 2nd, 1989. There are only 12 of us left. The cold. It is killing us one by one, but they are still there. Mother Lynx brought me food tonight. I saw her sitting next to Maria, warming her with her own body as she died. January 10th, 1989. I am the only one left. The lynxes are still here. They show me the safe paths through the ice, guide me in the darkness. I am not afraid anymore. And for the first time, I no longer feel cold. The final page was worn by time and the words were shaky. Yet one sentence remained clear. No one should die alone in this white silence. The camp stood in silence as Laura Bennett's last words were read. This was not the delusion of a dying woman. As unbelievable as it seemed, the Lynxes had been there from the very beginning. And somehow they remembered. Laura Bennett's words echoed in the minds of every expedition member. Flight TR-571 was never truly alone in that frozen wasteland. Here, in the heart of the Arctic ice, we learned that compassion has no boundaries between species, eternal remembrance for those who were lost, and for the extraordinary beings who guarded them. The Lynxes are still there. Rare expeditions report glimpses of these mysterious creatures. They move like shadows, silent, elusive, yet always watching. Did you enjoy this story? What are your thoughts on the Lynx's behavior? Share your opinions in the comments below. If you liked this story, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Sometimes, salvation comes from the most unexpected places. Even in the harshest cold, compassion can transcend time and nature. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.